Okay, let me throw in a map point. So, first step, learn how your GPS works. So the way GPS in the game is set up is that it always routes you to the nearest road, then follow the roads to as close to your destination as you can get, and then from your road, from that point, it then takes you cross country to where you want to be. Here's the twist. It does not check for cliffs off of roads. So be really careful if you're following a dotted line on your GPS, down there in the corner right here behind me, it will path you off cliffs. So that's a no-go there. Then you started the game off, your opening weapons are your Kellerman revolvers, or Kellerman revolver, singular, your carbine repeater, and that's it. That's all you get to start with. So I'm going to head back to where I was. Actually, I think, where's my, I don't remember where my camp is. And I really don't want you to be in camp. I want you to be in Blackwater. And I'll explain why in a second. There are two really good starting places I've found over the course of the gameplay. Blackwater and the area around it is really good, I think, for starting out. And then over by Saint Denis, north of there in Lemoyne County, is another great place to start. And it has to do with the number of critters you can hunt right out of the gate. I like Blackwater. Let me change into something. There we go. This is actually the costume I started the game with, mostly. I changed a little bit of, I think I popped my pants from the Outlaw Pass on there. But for the most part, that's what she looked like when Siobhan started off here in the Old West. Lost my horse in like 30 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, that is a thing, man. You got to watch out for that. Okay, so last night, just on a small tangent here while I head out west, we were doing a supply run for our camp, and someone in our group got confused with the GPS, and literally we failed to get the supplies back in time because the GPS road took her so far around because there was a cliff she'd have to go up if she went direct. So here's why I love this as a starting space. Tons of open space that's easy to hunt because you can see for miles. And then, let me just bring up the map here. A little more about that. So this Great Plains region here, this is really good hunting for deer and bison, which will get you a ton of, they'll get you the mature venison, and they'll get you the big game meat. And those are really good sellers at the butchers. So that's why I like it. When you get over here into tall trees, you also get now into more deer, but you also get bears. Now bears, if you can catch them, again, they get the big game meat, which sells really well and cooks really well. But the twist is the Great Plains has a lot of deer and not a lot of predators. So it's safe. It's a good, safe starting space. You also have access to Blackwater. Blackwater has a casino, so you can play poker there with downtime. It has a barber. It also has a general store. It does not have a gunsmith. That's the one thing it's lacking. And that becomes a problem once in order to get rolling, because I'm going to talk about your next, what I consider the priority purchases. So here's my advice on priority purchases. Carrots, I have found so far, are the absolute best purchase for horse food. You get a lot of bang for the buck. It will almost always fill your horse core back up to max. They're cheap, and you can get a whole bunch. I have a thoroughbred. Yeah, thoroughbreds are nice horses. The thing about a thoroughbred you gotta be careful about is they are squishy. They do not take damage the way some of the other breeds do. And so you want to watch out for that, because if you'll notice there, right there, these two things right here. Get that back up there. So you got your stamina and you got your health. Thoroughbred, I think, has a lower health than the typical horse at that stage. But if it's a late game thoroughbred, like one of the top tiers, don't worry about that. Do make sure make sure you get horse insurance. That's a good investment. So there's that. Now you start off with, this is empty, and this has your carbine repeater in it. So here's the thing about hunting. Headshots guarantee the quality doesn't go down any. And I'm sure by now you've picked up that animals have the 3 stars of quality. You want to get perfects as often as possible. The problem with my repeater, see right now that little bunny over there. Oh, there he goes. Let's see if I can get him. He's a 2. I shoot him with my repeater. Well, maybe I shoot him. Got him. Well, that was a lot more work. What's going to happen, he's now going to be a 1. Where is he? Where did he go? There he is. Oh, he's still 2. I must have caught him in the head. Usually they go down when you clip them in the head, when you don't clip them in the head with a repeater. So my recommendations for your first investments, as far as weapons go, is to upgrade your carbine repeater to a bolt action rifle. Now the bolt action does not come with a scope standard, but there's a cliff there. You can add a scope to it, but it's also got a lot more range than your carbine, and you're more likely to keep a large animal carcass intact with it. You can also attach a scope so you can get that extra range on it. They're not terribly expensive, but they're solid guns. And then what's nice is that the scope doubles as binoculars. So it's a lot easier to see your targets. It's a lot easier to see targets at range because you can use your scope to look out and see what you're looking at. You can't use Deadeye through a scope, but you can still use Deadeye with a rifle. I believe that medium and large animals, you need to use a rifle to keep their pelts intact. And you want those intact as long as you can. The second purchase I would recommend as far as weapons go is the varmint rifle, because that's what you're going to use on all small game like rabbits and squirrels and chipmunks. And they're almost guaranteed to keep them intact. Ditto on birds. Believe it or not, birds tend to go down pretty easy. So I can find some more critters while we're talking here. And a varmint rifle shot is enough to drop most birds in one shot. And because it's a small caliber, it keeps their carcass intact, and that's what you want for taking stuff back. So let's see if we can round up some deer. They did patch them all in, so there should be a lot more now. So we get lucky and find some more without having to get all the way to the forest. So those are my 2 opening purchases I recommend. You're going to be tempted to buy clothes. Wait until you level up, because a lot of clothes that are decent looking unlock at later levels. It's like once you hit level 25 or 30, you get a pretty good variety of clothes that are still under $50 an item. So you want to hold off on that as long as you can. I'm still getting the hang of using bait, so I don't really recommend it. Oh, here, there we go. There's some deer. And so let's see, let's switch to my rifle. Now I can use a scope and I can actually kind of sight down at them. And they're out of range because they're white. Oh, nope, I caught it. Let's see. There it is, that's 2. I can't quite make out his head at this distance. Maybe I can. Oop, too far away. The thing about a lot of these is they lose their accuracy with their damage with distance. Yeah. Let's see if I got him. Might not have. Okay, another little trick. I'm gonna get the right one there while he's still in range. Okay, lasso. What the? I thought I changed to the lasso. There's the lasso. Now, can I find those guys again? Okay, deer you can usually catch. Pronghorns are hard. I think I'm chasing a pronghorn now. Come around. There it goes. So you do have the auto target. So if you can get a lasso on them, you can do this. And the beauty of this is that it always maintains the carcass. So he was a 2-star when I found him. He's a 2-star now, and 2-stars always sell for more. Twist. I can only fit one large animal carcass on the back of my horse, and that's before and after I skin it. Starting out, it's kind of, as far as the butcher goes, it's kind of a balancing act how much you need that meat, but you do want to get some. Another twist that I didn't realize when I started, let's put that down. Hop back up here. Now I'm still working with mostly starter gear right now. Take out the lasso, target the carcass, lasso it, and go. So you can fit a large carcass on the back of your horse. You can drag a second one behind you. And depending on how far you drag it, you might be able to maintain it the whole way. My wife swears that she dragged a 3-star carcass back to camp, and it dropped to a 1 while she was dragging it. We didn't drag this guy that far, but he's still a 2. Now the thing I've noticed is that the controls for the lasso are a little bit wonky. Sometimes you have to keep holding down left trigger to keep the lasso on target, and sometimes you don't. I haven't mastered the rhyme and reason, so my recommendation is always keep left trigger down. It doesn't hurt you any. Until you know otherwise. Camp-wise, you don't really need to invest a lot in your camp starting out. I'm going to move my camp down here really quick so that it's a little bit easier. By default, the top listing on Pitch Camp is in the location you currently are. So I'm going to move it down here to the Great Plains because it's a lot easier for me to get at. And then we'll throw a map pin down on it while we head over that way. So there it is. We'll see if we come across anybody on our ride over there. I think I'm mostly going to follow a straight line path so we can dig up. So you have your varmint rifle, your bolt action. To put a scope on the rifle, it has to be on the gunsmith, and it's under customizations. There's a lot of other ones that you can get. Maybe I'll do a quick fast travel to a town. I'll walk through those. Iron sight seems to help with the locking on aspect. And that's another little trick that I still have to break myself of. Because I'm used to playing, when I play a game that's a shooter, I play a lot of FPSs where there's no auto aim. And this has an auto assist. So it will snap to a target when you aim down the sights, if you are within range. Oh, there's some deer over there. So let's see if I can actually do some proper hunting now. And then again, I'm using my old, well, that's my rolling block. I didn't want to use that. I want to be using my bolt action. There it is. Ooh, okay. So you notice where it says condition, it's completely grayed out. The reason this gun is in bad shape is it's completely fouled up. Okay, I'll come back to that. Every once in a while, I'll show you how I did that again. So from the wheel, it's that where it says push down on the R button into maintain. You're going to have to clean these things. It uses up one gun oil every time you do it. But you'll notice, see all that red stuff filling in now? Those are all the things that were depleted because of the way I've been maintaining this rifle. I almost never use my bolt action because I have a better one now. I'm just not using it for demonstration purposes. So now I should be able to one-shot these guys. So that's a 1-star. And then I'm going to look over here. And that's a 2. Let me check the stream. Make sure you guys... it's right behind the kitty cat. Let me turn off the kitty cat. Oh, no, you can see it there around him. Okay. And then we come up over here. That sucker's also a 2. So, and then if you don't use the scope, if I can get a little bit closer, oh, he's going to spook the herd. Ah, he spooked the herd on me. Okay, so while I catch up with these guys, whoa! Did you see that? It was flying. Here's the thing about taming horses. There is no need to tame horses because there is no mechanic for what to do with a horse you've tamed. The one thing you can do, if you keep it hitched when you're not riding it. You can use it to store an additional large animal carcass. But the catch is, if you get off of it and you don't hitch it to something, it has a tendency to run off on you, and it will take anything you put on it. You can't sell them at the stables. You can't break them. You can't tame them and saddle them. And if you are disconnected or leave your game and rejoin, any horses that you tamed on the fly are gone. So despite the fact that it's like really tempting to be out here and to see all these horses running around, there is literally no reason to go after them. None. And I find that very frustrating myself. My wife and I have been talking about the fact that you would think with all the mechanics they have for oh, I lost my train of thought there. All the mechanics they have for taming horses, they would do something with them beyond just have them in the game. The good news is you don't need to use your stamina taming them because they don't do anything for you. Yeah, I know. I was heartbroken too. I had a buddy of mine who played this for like the second time, and he was on the group chat, and he's like, okay, I'm ready. I just tamed this awesome black horse. How do I put a saddle on it? We're like, dude, sorry, man. You don't. Okay, so head back to camp for some other quick tidbits to get you started. One thing that it took me a while to get the hang of is using the Eagle Eye. This is a great way to collect herbs. Starting out, herbs are good for cooking, and they're also good for selling to doctors. You can get about 50 cents an herb. So when you're in your starting money range, you can start to get a pretty nice, you can get a little nest egg going if you're always collecting herbs and then selling them off. You don't have to, but you can. So in your campsite, some other important tips, and these are available to everybody. So even though my camp's a little bit upgraded, there are certain things everybody gets. For one, you don't need to go to town to change your wardrobe. That can be done at your, starting off, you have a bedroll you want to look for. If you look on the mini map, which is right behind, hold on. Pink. If you look on the mini map, there's the blue triangle. That's actually the location in camp of your tent. That's where you can do your wardrobe changes. You can upgrade it, which is kind of cool. You will also always have Cripps' wagon, which includes beer. So always good there. And we're done. Okay. The Wilderness Outfitters is where you buy your stuff, which is pretty self-explanatory. Not a lot I need to say about that.
What are you looking for?
I will mention under equipment, the fast travel post is really far down the line to get, so it takes a long time to get there, and everything else is cosmetic. The tent, they say that the bigger the tent you get, the more of a boost you get to your cores. In the online game, I have never seen a need to worry about that. You just eat food and you get there without having to think too hard. And we're going to talk food in a second. There's also the trick. I don't know if you've picked this up yet, but you've got your blue lockbox. What I do, I go to my catalog and say I'm running low on pistol ammunition. So I'll find in my catalog some revolver rounds, and I've unlocked the express, so that's what I use. I'm going to hold down buy. So now it says buy max. Now, I didn't get those into my pocket, but those went to the mail. So the mailman came out and delivered, and now anytime I go, wrong trigger button. Anytime I go to a mailbox or my camp lockbox, everything I have ordered is now waiting for me here. And you can see I've got 999 express repeater cartridges sitting in here. So I can restock all of my ammunition without having to go into town. That's a huge boon. Makes life so much easier. Let's see what else we got. So there's that trick. I'm pretty sure the bolt action rifle unlocks really early. So that's a good hunting rifle to start off, and then the varmint rifle gets you going. And what I found is that kind of covers me. Oops. The one thing is I wish I didn't have to go find my horse every time I wanted to change weapons. There we go. So the varmint rifle and the bolt action rifle are my standard hunting complements. Now, the repeater has a higher rate of fire and a longer arming distance than your pistols do. Sorry, longer arming distance than your pistols, but does about the same damage, a little bit more. So the nice thing about the repeater in combat is that it lets you lock on from further away, so you're less likely to use a lot of ammo missing. The twist is it does still usually take 2 or 3 repeater rounds to drop a guy. So it doesn't have the punch that the rifle does, but it definitely is better than pistols at that medium range. Let's see. Okay, let's go talk guns. So, now normally I would take these to the butcher to sell, but I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and turn them into as part of my trader role. So quick tutorial on that. You get this, and then you just keep feeding him things that you've caught. He turns them into goods, and then you go deliver them. It is, I think, if you're into hunting, the absolute best way to make money in this game. Absolutely. Because all you do is just keep doing your usual hunting, but instead of settling for taking things to the butcher, you feed him here and you get more bang for the buck out of this. Especially if you're bringing in good stuff. Now, when you're starting out, before you get that rifle so you can get the higher quality carcasses, you're just going for sheer volume. Kill things, get it to a butcher. Kill things, get it to a butcher. And so you're going for efficiency. And then my other tip, I've gotten to the point where I've unlocked fast travel from camp, so I don't have to ride. Speaking of riding, though, let me show you this if you haven't caught this tip yet. Because I don't think it's talked about very well. Or I never thought I should trust it. I don't know why I didn't use it. We'll head into town. I always activate it when I get to a road. So let's get to the road, which is south of here. Hey, a little bit. You thirsty? You can have the rest of mine? Okay. Okay, well, I'm teaching a couple people some basics about Red Dead on the stream. Do you need some help with opening that? Do you want to say hi? Oh, there's the hand. Oh, do I get the whole Kaylee? Here she comes. There's Kaylee. There you go. Let's see, Nick and another viewer. Nick's new to Red Dead. I'm giving him some quick pointers. Hopping on 1 foot. Okay. Okay. There you go. So then you hold down on the square menu button, and when you're in the cinematic mode, it autopilots the route that you pre-programmed. So as long as you stay on the roads, you don't have to steer. What I actually find myself doing a lot is I'll offhand my A button to keep kicking, and that frees me up while I'm streaming to look at other things. And there's a kind of a nice visual. I kind of like it. So that's another one of those, and I don't know if they covered this in the tutorial or if this is a case of something that I just kind of stumbled into. Or I didn't use it at the time, but a friend's like, oh no, man, you gotta use this because it's so much easier. And it really kind of is. Okay, so let's head where a gunsmith is. I know there's a gunsmith in Valentine. I don't think there's one in Strawberry. Now, word of warning, Valentine is can be griefer central. It's a crapshoot as to whether or not there are people there that are just out to mess with other people. So mileage may vary. But I'm going to pop in there, and then I'm actually going to wrap up this particular stream because I wasn't planning on streaming today until later in the afternoon. I wanted to do a couple other personal things and get some footage cleaned up. But I figured, well, you guys were all asking about some, just kind of getting rolling. And if you have any more questions I haven't gotten to, throw them in there and I'll get to them before I head out. Because I'm all about helping out wherever I can and helping kind of consolidate my things I learned the hard way into as few bits as possible. Okay, so here's our gunsmith. Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Bust through
So,
there.
what are you
Yeah, so
aiming
you
for
have
today?
browse the catalog and then you have customize. Now the one thing I'll point out is that they will not modify a gun that you have that's not clean. So like if I were to take this bolt action rifle that I've been using, oh yes, I cleaned it, so he'll
Good.
let me do it.
Ain't no trace of
Under
rust on that as far as I can
components,
see. You know what?
iron
Bet you could use
sights.
some rifling on this thing.
Ooh, improved iron sights. That's kind of handy. I never put them on this thing. But you'll see here the description. It says adjusted sights for better target acquisition. And so this, I believe, speeds up the rate at which you can acquire your target. Scopes come in short, medium, and they actually come in long. So you have that as another option.
If it weren't for all the bounties running around New Hanover,
I've upgraded
I'd
this
be
one to
out
a
of
medium.
business.
But I think, let me grab my rolling block. I have to clean it first.
Shit, you gotta treat that thing as good as your horse, all right?
Components. Scope.
I bet this
Yeah,
will shoot better.
there's
with some
actually a
new
long
sights.
version of that, so it does an even better job of sighting in on a target. I haven't really needed it. I think my medium works pretty dang well. But that's where you get there. So my advice again starting out is you start off with that cattleman revolver as your offhand. So my opening
Unless you
advice
maintain that piece, more often you'll
right
have to
out of the
see
gate
me.
is to
It's
go
up
into
to you.
components
We
and
can do a lot
slap
with
an
this.
improved
New
iron
trigger,
sights on
brand
it
new bolt, your pick.
just to get that quicker acquisition. It's not a ton of money starting out, but it'll help speed up combat, especially on the rifles. Because again, that's where you're going to get that. You're going to use those to get as much. You're going to use those for your hunting. You probably shouldn't be hunting with the cattlemen unless you're shooting things that are 1 star, because their design, they're going to ruin the pelts. Every time you hit a target, you reduce its pelt by 1 star. So if you found something who's perfect, you want to get the perfect critical headshot in order to drop it fast and minimize the risk of damage to it over time. Out of curiosity, what were those styles? I think these are engravings and
You
stuff.
keep treating that like your own child,
Yeah,
all right?
engravings
Good
and
on you.
varnish and all kinds of other fun things you can do to doll them up. I've got 2 Navy revolvers are what I use now. So those are my babies. And then the rolling block, I've actually invested in a
Beautiful
wrap.
condition. Keep it up.
And these are a bit more
How
expensive.
about you get some new sights for this, huh?
Prices start to go up, but the advantage of the wrap is that the condition doesn't drop as fast. So there's that. So there, it can be, but it's a lot of money to pick up early on in the game. So I would advise you wait on that until a bit later, unless you have a daily to customize your weapon. I think that's why I want to wrap up this kind of like quick 30-minute welcome to Red Dead. This is what you can watch while you're getting your head into the game kind of thing. And that's your dailies. If you can do them, you want to do them because they're easy money as you go along. Now, normally you don't get as much as I am because I've been playing so steadily that my dailies are, I have that 2x5 multiplier applied. So I'm getting a lot more gold per daily. However, they're
Just
easy
remembered
money.
I put my pistol
Update
down
your
as I
horse
did
tag.
in
So go to this
poker
table
the
and
other
update your
night.
horse tag.
I can't recall who won that though. Damn.
Join a posse. That's like crazy easy. Eat herbs. Well, go gather some and just make sure you don't eat the poisonous ones. And these are available to everybody. Then when you unlock the roles, you get more of them. So you have more things you can do to get yourself there. And so that's another easy way to get money in the
That
game
paper
and get
boy
experience
stays at
and
that
level
post
up.
next to my shop any longer, I may lose it.
Only thing I didn't
Very
touch
dangerous
on.
for a gunsmith to
I have one
snap.
more thing. I was wrong. I have one more thing I want to make sure that I've talked about here, and it's the kind of thing that if you haven't played the main game, it's easy to forget about. So let me run back here, and those are your cores and food. So, like, my advice is to stay stocked up on meat. So whenever you skin that guy, hop back to camp. The ways to get your core back up are by eating food you find and eating food you've hunted for. Now, if you're hunting to get money early on, then you got a ton of that. You have a ton of meat. So rather than spending it all, you can cook it at your campfire. And so let's see, get in there, craft cook. And so I usually maintain a stock of cooked venison is my usual go-to, because cooked venison will generally fill your cores back up, but it sells for less than the other meats. And you can kind of see when we look at the ratings up there, venison is pretty high on all marks. Game doesn't do bad. Mutton's not that great for you. So it's the bang for the buck. And it doesn't sell as well back to the butcher as big game meat does. So you got that going for you. So you want to make sure you're always maintaining a stock of food. And you can eat it from the wheel now. The catch is all of the food you've collected are on your wheel. So if you're trying to eat like on the fly quickly because you're in combat, it takes forever to find what it is you wanted to eat. No, relatively forever. So there's that. So cook your food, clean your gun, get the iron sights. Bolt action and varmint rifle are two good opening purchases. Don't sweat taming horses because you can't do anything with them. Bring back as much as you can to the butcher as quickly as you can. And then my advice is, as soon as you have the gold, buy into a role that you're going to like doing. So I bought into Trader first. I think it was a great decision. I have friends that have bought into other roles like Bounty Hunter because they really like those missions. Bounty Hunter, I think, feels like you get more gold per job than you do on the other roles. Collector is great for what it is, and I think maybe that'll be the official wrap up to this thing, is to pull up, let me pull it up and throw it on the other monitor, this bad boy. I'm going to throw it up on this monitor, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to switch to this view. This is the website for the Red Dead Online Collectors map. And this sucker is fully interactive. You come over here, you highlight what it is you want to go looking for. I'll just do show all. These are all of the collectibles in the game at their current time. And it refreshes every day. So you can go in and see all the things you can get while you're playing. You have to have the collector's roll to sell them, but you don't need the collector's roll to collect them. And I'm not even sure you need the collector's roll to sell them. I think you can sell them no matter what, but you can't sell them as a set. I'd have to double check on that one. But the thing is, there's usually no enemies that stop you. The only enemies you bump into are other players. So, lots of opportunities there. All right. If you have a question on this particular video, throw it in the comments. Leave a question. I'm going to go deal with that moonshine mission that just popped up. And I'm going to keep streaming for a while. But I'm going to cut here from my editing for the highlight reel for anyone that wants to have a quick 30-minute, 35-minute, here's how you do it. So, and maybe I'll pop in the answered some questions along the way. Do one thing before I go get that moonshiner. I'll be right back.